Hi, this is Marissa Leahy, Placer County Home Whisperer, Marissa Leahy Homes. I'm here at the Gold Country Fairgrounds in Auburn, California. This is episode 2. I'm with Donny List, the CEO here at the Gold Country Fairgrounds. Remember, we're doing this to create community and to get nosy and to ask the questions we all want to know when we meet someone or see someone. And this man here, he is the behind the scenes on a lot of the events that happen in town, a lot of the fundraising that happens, and a lot of the community events. So I thought this would be a perfect interview for episode 2, the badass CEO of Auburn Gold Country Fairgrounds. Okay, so Donny List, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up, college, that kind of stuff?
Well, I'm originally from Michigan, so I was born and raised in Livonia, which is a little suburb. It was then, it's very large now, outside of Detroit. Spent my early years there, and then we moved to Oscoda, which is just south of the Upper Peninsula. And we had a little cabin there and about 8 acres of land and a lake across the street. And believe it or not, I love it. You wouldn't know now because I've been a city person the rest of my life, but it was wonderful. And my dad had a little barber shop in front of the house, and that's how he made a living. And then from there, we moved back to the Detroit area, Redford, which is just the other subdivision, the other suburb, the other side of Livonia. And from there, I went to school at Eastern Michigan University. I got a degree in international business when it wasn't quite a degree yet. It had just started, which you now call global management or global resources. And from there, I started my career in Chicago, Schaumburg.
And then when did you arrive in California in the area?
We arrived in California around 1988. I started looking in the area. My wife wanted to move to California because her family. I all moved to California from the Midwest, and it's true, you follow your wife wherever she wants to go, make her happy.
Yes.
So that's what brought us to California. So I started looking. I was looking at Auburn, and I was looking at Truckee. And it was kind of a no-brainer because when I told my wife, Debbie, snow or no snow, she said, let's do the no snow. So that's how we settled in Auburn. That was 1989, 30 years ago.
Okay, and do you have any kids?
I do. I have 3 lovely daughters. One is right here, Marissa Leahy. She's my middle one, and she's a jewel, so she's been great.
I hear that middle one's kind of surly, a little spicy.
Yep, she did have a little bit of her own drummer beat every now and then, but she's been a sweetheart. And so I have 3 daughters, and I have 6 wonderful grandchildren, and they're really the centerpiece of our life.
Oh, yes. Okay. So moving on then. All right. So being the CEO of the Auburn Fairgrounds, what does that involve?
When I first took the job, it involved, I thought, just having a good time, planning events, and taking care of the annual fair. What you realize when you get in the job, you're really the economic engine of our community. So I interact with all the social organizations, service organizations for their events, their fundraisers. We also do some of our own events in additional to the annual fair, which gets me highly involved. And because we no longer have state funding, we have to do a lot of fundraising on our own to keep the place going. And we have a nonprofit arm, which I started 3.5 years ago, the Heritage Foundation. And that's a 501c3 to help us with resources so we can keep the fairgrounds open.
Got it. And so word on the street, this CEO, he thinks outside of the box. He takes risks and what is unexpected of years past.
I do. We started out, our budget was questionable. We were about $800,000. We're at 1.2 million now, so we've grown pretty appreciably in the first 2 years I've been here. And I'm looking for ways to engage the community other than the fair. So we've tried an ice skating rink. We've had a music series. We've also looked into a Christmas, we call it Delights of December, where we've lit up parts of our fairgrounds. We've also had the parade come through here, and we're doing everything we can to make the fairgrounds relevant. And we changed it. Earlier you said the Gold Country Fairgrounds, which is true, but we now actually go by the Gold Country Fairgrounds and Event Center. And the reason for that change is we're more than just a fair. We're all about events. So whether it's a small wedding, home show, Mandarin Festival, pumpkin nights, I mean, anything that's happening in this community that needs space, it happens at our fairgrounds.
That's right. And you have that beautiful, I don't know which what a building you call it, but I always say you could have a wedding in here.
Absolutely. We're working, it's called the Auburn Lions building, and we had a redwood memorial garden in the front of our fairgrounds. About 2 years ago, the trees were diseased, so we had to remove them, and we've repurposed those redwoods into the Auburn Lions building. And if you haven't seen the building,
it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. It's a perfect fit.
Who did that? Who put that all up there?
I call him Man Glitter, and the reason I call him Man Glitter is every time I see him, he comes into my office and he's got shavings all over his face, and they twinkle.
Yeah.
But his name is Peter, and he's responsible for milling all that wood, putting it up there. It's called Forest Hill Lumber's his company, does a great job, and he's there today finishing the last wall. And then phase 2, we're going to bring a bathroom to that building.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, it is. If you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. Like Don was saying, the diseased redwoods in the front of the entrance, instead of just getting rid of them, they had so much history, and he created a piece of art over there.
He did. He's
all on the walls.
And it's he basically made it so that they're diamond shaped. So when you walk into the building, it's like looking into a tunnel of a diamond. And he did that on all 4 walls. So he's really more than just someone who milled the wood. He's a craftsman, and he's done a great job.
Yes. All righty. So what do you love about Auburn?
Wow. Let's see. The first thing I would say is I love the nature part of it. I love the fact that we can go take a hike just about anywhere within the city proper, as well as just outside the city. Wonderful trails. You can bike. You can, from the equestrian standpoint, you can ride horses.
It's our playground.
It is, and you're one with nature, which is amazing when you consider you're just maybe a half a mile outside the city. Our community also is very giving, so you'll find that if you have a need or an event or something you really want to be part of, they go out of their way to try to help. And I say they, I mean the entire community, which you don't see that kind of generosity usually in a bigger city. And then the other thing that I think we have going for us is we manage that pace so that when you walk down the street, they actually say, "How you doing?" And you actually know the people that are asking you how you're doing. So for me, it's wonderful as far as all those things together. And we do go by the endurance capital of the world, and we've earned that because of Tevis. We also have the Western States Trail Run.
That's
so
right.
There's a lot of those things happening in our community, and they're building that brand. So it's a fun place to be.
Definitely. And now, what is something that you want to see not necessarily change or be added to or happen here in Auburn?
Well, as Marissa said, I like to think outside the box. And one of the things that I would like to see us do is look at the fairgrounds as the economic engine for everything we do. We have 38.6 acres. We have parking.
36.8 acres. You probably did not know that.
Which is a lot to do. And we also are in the center of the community, and there's not a lot of parking. So I'd like to figure out a way where we can get all the business entities and ourselves together to come up with a way to bring more resources, more revenue, more things to do in a central base, if you will. And we're doing more and more of that, but I'd like to see us really focus on that. And then I'd also like to see us balance our growth, have an actual plan, because we don't have the stores sometimes and the infrastructure we need for especially the younger generation. They need more than just a minimum wage job. So I'd like to see companies come in. I'd like to see businesses come in where there's a growth opportunity, so that they have that option, so they're not leaving the area as soon as they get out of school. And I'd also like to see affordable housing because, as you know, in the industry you're in, housing is very expensive for first-time buyers. Although there's a lot of good programs, it's still hard sometimes for the newly graduated or the ones just taking a job and trying to figure it out, even from a rent standpoint. So I'd like to see us focus on that.
Yeah, we had to leave and then come back to Auburn.
Correct, yes, we did. Yep.
We left and thought, oh, let's spread our wings. No, we love Auburn. We're coming back. So in life, what is a life business motto or saying or a principle that you really like or live by?
Well, the one that I like, because we use it as part of our logo about 5 years ago we started, but and I think of this because I said earlier the community is so giving and so generous. So I like to think of the phrase, individually we give, together we make a difference.
Nice.
And that's the motto I live by.
I like that. Okay, so to wrap this up, we have our questions we always are going to ask at the end because it's the stuff we want to know too. So what is your favorite musical band or genre?
Wow, of course. I'm dating myself when I say this. But,
I know what he's going to say.
I just went to Golden One, so I got to see Bob Seger. So I love Bob Seger, so that's rock. and that's my favorite singer and group because he became the Silver Bullet Band. So anyway, I dated my wife to that music, and so we went to see him at 73 years old, and he still was terrific.
I know some other Michiganders who went to see that. But he's also loves Motown.
I do, and I was born on that Motown sound.
music.
So that would be my very close second.
Yeah, very close. And what is something that people would be surprised to know about you?
Surprised to know about me. Wow.
That's a hard one.
That is a hard one because you're asking me to talk.
Does he want to share?
I guess, I know, my close circle of friends know, but I actually met my wife of 42 years in July on a blind date.
Oh,
so I was
right.
doing something I shouldn't be doing. I was flirting, and somehow I found out that, saw a picture of her, and I was smitten, and about 6 months later, we went on a blind date after she sent her sister to check me out. And anyway, we ended up getting married, and I have a beautiful family and grandkids as a result. So I guess that would be, I fell in love on a blind date.
Okay, but I heard this story a little different. I think he first hit on my grandmother.
I did, actually. I had the
And she said, "Oh, honey, you're just so cute. I have a daughter for you."
And why she would say that is beyond me. But she took me out to the car and showed me a picture of Debbie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is the true story. But,
Yeah, that's the true story. You left that out.
Yes.
What is your favorite color?
my favorite color is blue.
Is blue. Look at this shirt.
Blue for blue.
Totally hip, right? We totally are like Easter
Yes,
colors
we are.
here. And bacon or sausage?
No, definitely bacon. On
Definitely
everything.
bacon. You heard it
On
first.
everything.
Bacon on everything. Alrighty, well, that's it for episode 2 of Placer County Home Whisperer. This is Donny List, the CEO of the Fairgrounds. He has a huge heart trying to keep this community, and this as more of, like he said, it's not just a fairgrounds and an event center, kind of the heart of the community as Auburn's around it, and all that acreage and events and different buildings that are available, fundraising opportunities, all of that. So thank you so much for watching, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.